SCP-3288, AKA The Aristocrats. Object Class Keter, formerly Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. An SCP-3288 population no less than 20 nor greater than 30 individuals is to be maintained at Humanoid Containment Site 282. Each SCP-3288 must be contained within individual containment units. Behavior studies that require your SCP-3288 to SCP-3288 contact are to be conducted with the utmost caution. SCP-3288 are to be terminated where encountered and disposed of per hazardous waste protocols. It is imperative that SCP-3288 infestations undergo thorough destruction or containment. A single uncontained instance of SCP-3288 has the potential to trigger an SK class as dominant shift scenario within the next century, if not sooner. Description: SCP-3288 designates a highly predatory species or subspecies of the genus Homo anthropophagus. SCP-3288 display a number of abnormal characteristics and behaviors that distinguish them from the baseline species. The most common deviations include acute hyperdontia and macrodontia. An instance of SCP-3288 has teeth approximately 6 times the size of a normal adult teeth, with more than 60 teeth unevenly distributed over 6 distinct rolls, requiring jaws much larger than that of baseline humans. See below. Gross mandibular or prognathism, fluctuating facial asymmetry, docimelia of the arms. An instance of SCP-3288, it commonly has arms more than twice the length of a baseline human, similar or of height. Acrogatally and polygatally, kyphosis, abnormal muscle strength despite having the appearance of severe emaciation, albinism, some superior low light vision, heterochromia, idiom, specifically completely heterochromia. The eyes are notably reflective, and their colors range from red, blue, purple, and yellow. A reliance on both bipedal and quadrupedal locomotion, abnormally rapid physical growth and development. This results in a 2 to 3 week gestation period, with sexual maturity being reached within 16 to 20 months. Goddard syndrome, primarily manifesting on the hands and fingers. Alopecia universalis, acute photophobia, direct exposure to sunlight will result in both physical and psychological damage. Mental instability, primarily characterized by delusions of grandeur and malignant narcissism, an addiction to human flesh that takes on biological and psychological components. These abnormalities are primarily the result of excessive inbreeding, but without the increased chance for certain recessive or deleterious traits, especially those related to infertility. Higher infant and child mortality, and loss of immune function. These detrimental traits have not only been negated but inversely amplified, resulting in longer lifespans, increased resistance to disease, and an anomalously high levels of fertility. The Foundation became aware of SCP-3288 while investigating reports of unexplained disappearances in Vietnam. It was discovered that these incidents occurred in close proximity to sewer holes and access tunnels, and primarily targeted the most vulnerable of the population, such as prostitutes, unsupervised children, transients, and inebriated or otherwise indisposed individuals. Agents Serial Novak and a Fisher were dispatched in order to determine whether or not a number of unexplained disappearances were of an anomalous nature. Interviews with law enforcement and government officials have revealed that human remains belonging to 3 individuals had been recovered, but that this information was not released to the public due to concerns of causing further panic. These remains were promptly confiscated and delivered to Human Containment Site 282 in Graz. Autopsies were performed by Dr. Felix Gardner, who noted that the remains, cadavers A, B, and C displayed no injuries corresponding with a human attacker, and compared the deceased victims of hyena attacks. Dr. Gardner concluded that all sustained injuries were caused by a mix of teeth, claws, and raw physical strength. Bite marks were found to coincide with human teeth, despite their abnormal size, approximately 6 times the size of normal adult teeth. In number, were more than 60 teeth unevenly distributed over 6 distinct rows, requiring jaws much larger than that of baseline humans. Further analysis revealed unique patterns among the bite marks, suggesting that there existed more than one source. Entities responsible for these deaths were classified as anomalous and received the SCP-3288 designation. Mobile tasks were Sigma-6 Hellsingers was ordered to patrol Leopold district while incognito. The district had been the highest number of recorded disappearances. Operatives are instructed to target SCP-3288 with tracking darts and to refrain from lethal force. Field Log 1, October 6, 1988. 12 MTF-6 operatives patrolled the Leopold district at 1800 hours, while 10 maintained watch at positions with unrestricted views of known sewer holes and access tunnels. At 0021 hours, operatives Sigma-6 and Sigma 12 and Sigma 9 reported hearing a muffled scream near the donut and sought to investigate the matter while requesting backup. Support arrived 3 minutes after the initial request and found the mangled remains of both operatives, as well as the half-consumed body of a local civilian. Decapitated of Sigma 12 was pulled from Dunakano, although the head was never located. His neck had sustained injuries suggesting that been severed or destroyed by a single bite. A trail of blood and entrails led to Sigma 9, who had been torn in half along the waist. He had successfully crawled into an alleyway before succumbing to his injuries. The mission was deemed a success despite the loss of life, as Sigma 9 had successfully struck the SCP-3288 instance with a tracking dart, achieving being the mission's primary objective. The entity had escaped into the sewers. Its movements untracked till the signal began to fade before entirely disappearing somewhere below the Hofburg. Due to the progressively declining nature of the signal, it is believed that the device had been brought far deeper than even these sewers should have accommodated. Field Log 2, October 7th, 1988. Constructed in the mid-19th century, these sewers are part of a larger network of subterranean tunnels that include the catacombs, abandoned wine cellars, and underground rivers. MTF Sigma 6 operatives were divided into 4 teams of 5. 3 teams to investigate the sewers, one to remain on standby. By triangulating on the last known location of the track SCP-3288, the Foundation hoped to minimize the possibility of escape and public exposure. For this mission, where it is preferable that operatives secure and contain the threat, lethal force may be used at their discretion. At 900 hours, MTF Sigma 6 operatives reached their destination without incident, but initially failed to discover for any of significance. After several hours of investigation, Sigma 4 encountered human skeletal remains while wading through waist-deep water. Closer analysis of this area uncovered a number of loose bricks, who will reveal an unrecorded subterranean chamber whose walls were engraved with a House of Habsburg's coat of arms. The chamber included 24 sarcophagi and was presumably a family crypt belonging to the House of Habsburg, despite there being no records of its creation. The statues primarily depict women wearing veils over their eyes with a single finger held to their lips. The tombs, though intricate and reflective of their status, lacked any indication as to who may have been entered within. Prying open the sarcophagi revealed the skeletal remains of over 300 infants, all displaying severe and likely fatal deformities. The original entrance had been evidently destroyed. The stairs shattered and buried in soil. At the far end of the crypt was a vault door composed of bronze and with no apparent means of access, and seemingly impenetrable without proper equipment. The door displayed the House of Habsburg's coat of arms and engraved with the words ad imperium sanguinis, or in English, for purity of blood. MTF Sigma 6 operatives were were ordered to hold their current location and await the arrival of an infiltration team. Foundation agents organized the temporary evacuation of the Hofburg and the sealing of all sewer or access points throughout the city. Field Log 3, October 8th, 1988. MTF Sigma 6 maintained shifts throughout the night, making repeated attempts to open the vault door. At 1200 hours, the surface had fully evacuated, and an infiltration team had arrived at MTF Sigma 6's position. The bronze gate was carved apart via oxy-fuel cutting torches, just over an approximately 2-hour period, bypassing intricate mechanisms likely related to its conventional means of access, and revealing a spiral staircase. An 8-person squad, each person equipped with an M116 rifle, with attached flashlight, heavy tactical armor, and helmet mounted to live video and audio recording devices. Descended the staircase, with rear transmission growing increasingly faint as the operatives traveled an estimated 65 meters underground. Red ground flare. There's VZ. Were periodically lit and discarded, providing a clear path of return. Operatives reached the bottom of the stairwell, where the gray stone halls of the crypt were replaced by masterfully crafted marble floors, carpets, and white painted walls and ceilings. The large chamber was found to be architecturally identical to the Swiss wing of the Hofburg Palace, was closely resembling 18th century depictions and reflecting the late early Rococo artistic style popular during the era. The location, since classified as SCP 3288-1-1-A, contained various sculptures and Corinthian and columns, while paintings and tattered tapestries adorn its walls. All depictions of the human form had been literally defaced regardless of artistic medium. Operatives describe the era as having an odor not dissimilar to rotten meat and stale meat. The floor and walls were discolored with what appeared to be blood. Most of the stains appeared to be exceptionally old. Traveling through the southeast corridor, operatives encountered what appeared to be SCP 3288-1's equivalent of the Hofburg's Imperial Library. One notable difference between this selection of SCP 3288-1 and Hofburg Palace is the presence of a working 18th century laboratory. Sigma 7, when the only member of the acting squad to be fluent in both German and Latin, discovered were documents involving alchemy, biology, and the occult. A decorative writing desk as an accompanying throne were located at the far end of the chamber. The desk contained documents relating to transactions, contracts, and private journals. These documents, along with those relating to the occult sciences, were gathered and delivered to Field Command. See the SCP-3288-1 recovered documents subsection for further details. Operatives reached the ballroom and opera hall, describing the air as especially fitted. The aroma of perfume was also noted, though its presence did little to disguise the smell of decay. The area contained a number of instruments, a standing harpsichord, violins, etc., all which displayed evidence of recent use. There were several refectory tables located through the chamber. The ballroom evidently was used as a dining hall as well. Atop the tables were human remains in various levels of decomposition and culinary presentation. A bell abruptly began to toll and was followed by automatic music of a nearby pipe organ. The discordant song was played for approximately 3 minutes. When the pipe organ ceased its playing, it was followed by the sound of opening doors and increasing number of shuffling footsteps. Operatives were ordered to find a hidden and defensible position and deactivate their flashlights. 7 successfully hid behind the curtains of the opera hall, but Sigma 18 fell behind, having tripped over a pile of bones and forced to take cover behind a harpsichord. Sigma 1 was able to observe the entire ballroom without obstruction from the far corner of the stage curtain. The ballroom was wide gates open as video revealed the dim light of lanterns swinging in the hands of the shambling carriers. Closer analysis would show that these figures, SCP-3288, were dressed in the garb of 18th century courtiers. They are followed by others wearing increasingly extravagant and irregular attire. All outfits appeared to contain different shades of red, deeply contrasting with their chalk white skin, porcelain masquerade masks, and powdered wigs. A pair of diminutive SCP-3288 entered, lagging behind the others. One blew a rusty trumpet while the other acted as a standard bearer, holding a crudely painted ensign depicting a red lion on a black field. The trumpeter appeared to make an announcement. The words wasn't unintelligible due to the guttural nature of their speech. The trumpeter and standard bearer quickly moved aside. Their stunted legs causing them to tumble and roll as they fled. There now appeared to be several hundred with SCP-3288 throughout the ballroom. Sigma 1 activated a silent distress call, requesting heavy support. All SCP-3288 proceeded to kneel and lower their heads. An exceptionally corpulent instance of SCP-3288 entered the room, carried by other SCP-3288 in a large and reinforced sedan chair. The morbidly obese individual, classified as SCP-3288 Alpha, was dressed in a patchwork of noble finery, stitched together from various fabrics to create a single outfit of fitting its frame. It wore a crown that that come to more closely resemble a torture device. Too small for its head but held in place by an overgrowth of flesh. In lieu of a masquerade mask, it hid in space beneath a red shroud. A large iron cauldron was delivered to SCP-3288 Alpha's table. The container appearing to vibrate of its own accord. A dwarf SCP-3288 climbed the top of SCP-3288 Alpha's shoulder, proceeding to lift its red veil, revealing while leaving its eyes covered. A second diminutive specimen removed the cauldron's cover. SCP-3288 Alpha sniffed the air, then proceeded to lift the cauldron and pour its contents down on his anomalously large mouth and gullet. Part of its meal wiggled free, revealing that the cauldron would contain living infants displaying severe deformities. The other SCP-3288 raised their masks and began to feast versus his enthusiasm. So, an exceptionally tall specimen approached the harpsichord and snatched Sigma 18 from it. And it lifted him up by his head, but made no effort to alarm its fellow SCP-3288. Instead, the entity unhinged its jaw and quickly forced the operative down its throat feet first. His screams unheard among the feasting and discord and music. The gathering became orgastic as the SCP-3288 turned to fornication and violence, making no distinction between an appearance, age, or sex of the participant, willing or otherwise. An explosion rocked the event, causing mass casualties among the SCP-3288. It is hypothesized that Sigma 18 survived his ordeal, and was able to likely some struggle and consideration, activate an explosive device, sacrificing himself in order to terminate or otherwise incapacitate a great number of hostile entities. Panic spread among the remaining SCP-3288. MTF-6 would exploit this opportunity. They employed 3 methylphenidate to render the SCP-3288 unconscious. With the arrival of reinforcements, the survivors were secured and contained at humanoid containment site 282. The sheer size of SCP-3288 Alpha necessitated the use of a specialized crane and the creation of a shaft connecting SCP-3288-1 to the surface. Following the removal of SCP-3288 Alpha, as well as the relevant documents and objects, SCP-3288 was filled with cement and reburied. SCP-3288 Alpha Interview Log, October 10th, 1988. Access granted. Interviewed SCP-3288 Alpha. Interviewer Dr. Tobias Moser. Forward. Despite its corporal morbidity, the 101,632 kilograms and lack of mobility, its atrophied legs are entirely visual. Subject is considered dangerous and to be approached with utmost caution. Subject is blind and incapable of reading or writing. The interior of its hollow sockets pushed outward or to the point of prolapse. Subject is fluent in Austrian German, preferring to speak the Schadenbanner or Dutch. Also, like this, spoken by the Imperial Habsburg family and the nobility of Austria-Hungary. The subject has been stripped nude, bound, muzzled, and equipped with electrodes in order to prevent hostilities and ensure cooperation. Begin log. Hello. Please begin telling me your name. Your cooperation is not optional. The meat wishes to speak. It speaks when not spoken to. Meat. Must the meat taunt us? The aroma is gurgles. Eating. Subject struggles against spidings and saliva spills from his muzzle. As I said, your cooperation is not optional. Dr. Moser activates the electrodes, causing the subject to shudder and growl. Croaks. Impossible. How does meat hurt? How does meat obey? You will answer me. Dr. Moser activates the electrodes again. Subject appears unaffected. Is this how you wish to play? We do not submit. We dominate. We will rape you until your entrails spill. We will devour you and your peasant kin. Do you believe your witchcraft can harm us? Chuckles deeply. Our blood is pure. Our blood is resilient. Turns to security officer. Sir, would you be so kind as to illuminate the subject? My vision doesn't work so well in these dim cells. Security officer complies. Eyes flashing approximately 32,000 lumens at the subject. Subject screams and convulses. No, we yield. No fire, our souls skitters run in a flame. The security officer. That's enough. Yes, I know. This light sensitivity during your transfer. Extreme photophobia, even without eyes. I'll be sure to make a note of that. Now tell me, what is your name? The Emperor Maximilian the Great, King of Austria and Patriarch of the House of Habsburg. Subject slow attempts to quarterly bow. We have not entertained outsiders in so long. Excuse my uncouth ways. You are clearly a superior creature, and have asserted yourself. We are at your mercy. Does our guest wish to feast upon our flesh, to rape the festering wound? Taken aback. Oh, good God, no! Why do you even? Dr. Moser takes a deep breath. No, that won't be easy. I see that our customs differ quite significantly. I might ask, were you blind from birth, or did you lose your vision accidentally? But the pleasantries have yet to reach completion, and you now have was at a disadvantage. What is your name, outsider? You are fluent in German, but your accent is distant and strange. I am. King Tobias Moses, Sir of the Foundation. A king? Yes, of course. It all makes sense now. We sense nobility. A duke, we muse. Can you believe that? A duke? But we, sir, you have proven yourself far stronger than a duke, than a simple duke. We've heard of this foundation. A marvelous land of people, well known for its many cheeses and wines. As for our eyes, our royal true seeing eyes, gurgles. Alas, we we're hosting a banquet, and our eyes, it seems, were too big for our stomach. Have you heard that one? Oh, the mirth. But yes, you see, the meal was too big. They warned us, of course. Oh, His Imperial Majesty, let us cut this meat for you. But no, we are king, we are emperor, we want to swallow it whole. We will devour everything. And, well, you see, our eyes burst forth on their sockets. Not enough room. They served us little. And the dangling orbs, yes, of course, they plummeted down on our royal gullet, gone forever, unmissed. I see. Well, that was quite a story. Tell me of your court and house of Habsburg. We are of the same noble blood, but some subjects lays their left hand over their stomach are more noble than others. Our bloodline is pure, untainted by outsiders. I must ask, but why eat human? We do not eat human. We eat peasants. We eat undesirables. We devour life undeserving of life. That is the nature of nobility. What else would be the point? Understood. I must take my leave. We will speak again soon. Yes, we will think of you, King Mozart. In your absence, over and over, we are eager to sample your flavor. So delightful, so delicious, and long. Afterward, we may be able to glean more information by playing to his delusions, but it is difficult to say how much of it is true. However, DNA analysis revealed that SCP-3288 Alpha does in fact descend from the House of Habsburg, and this so far appears to be true for all SCP-3288. A number of significant documents were recovered from SCP-3288-1, allowing the Foundation to develop a better understanding of SCP-3288. The following excerpts have been translated from their original German and are arranged in chronological order. Footnotes have been provided in order to frame these documents within the historical and cultural context. Excerpts from the Journal of Leopold I. Leopold Ignaz Joseph Balthasar Felician, 9th of June 1640 to 5th of May 1705, was the Holy Roman Emperor, as well as the King of Hungary, Croatia, and Bohemia. Generally regarded as an intellectual, he was known for his interest in astronomy, alchemy, and the early sciences. 10th of November 1700. And with the death of Charles, so dies our noble line in Iberia. I will restore our rightful place. My claim is valid and will not be denied. I already hear the intoxicating drums of war. But his disease, his curse, concerns me greatly. Despite the purity of our blood, untainted for generations, Charles was a sickly creature with the mind of a child. I too, who was a sickly youth, but my mind remains sharp. I must make use of his blessing before my dynasty succumbs to madness and cretinism. 4th of August, 1701. The Jesuits have exhausted their usefulness. Against my better judgment, I have chosen to seek out those with knowledge of the so-called abominable sciences, scholars of the forbidden mysteries, both great and terrible. And I have found someone who knows the dark, a woman of rare, almost killing beauty. But she is older than she appears, for she speaks with the experience of a 100 lifetimes on subjects I only just begun to grasp. She is a creature of a wild, a living embodiment of all that is pagan. I am a stranger in her world, and I am afraid. 22nd of October, 1701. She says she will teach me before price. She will name upon the completion of her tutelage. A strange request, but all she presently asks is that I uphold my end of the bargain. I have more power and wealth than any man alive. Payment will not be difficult. I will not allow our venerable house to fall, but my laboratory is ill suited for such a task. I have hired workers to begin construction of a new site, something away from the prying eyes of the psychopathic courtiers. 19th of December, 1701. My tutelage, though difficult, progresses well. A universal essence, the way of all flesh. It all begins to make sense. My eyes are now open, and I see with such clarity. I will cleanse my family of this curse. The essence is malleable, subject to change. But one piece moves the other, you see, resulting in often an unpredictable transmutation. My current experiments make use of the simplest was of God's creations, rodents and insects primarily. I have formed living beings, creatures whose very visage would sunder even the most result of maintenance. 8th of February, 1702. Construction of the new library goes well. I predict its completion within the next 3 months. Equipment has been delivered from Damascus. If there is one thing those Mohammedans know, it is the occult sciences. More often than not, my teacher leaves me to my own devices. She only appears at night, though I cannot say from where. Here, she comes and goes as she pleases. My servants seem unaware of her presence. 27th of March, 1702. The new laboratory was finished ahead of schedule. The workers merely need to install my equipment, and I can take my experiments to the next tier. But fresh materials are required and passes will no longer suffice. I am not willing to experiment on my own blood, but perhaps there is another way. The workers promise secrecy, but my dreams I see betrayal. I have come too far to allow such an interference. If the church learns of this, it could ruin everything. These dreams are an omen, and I know they will consume me unless I take swift action. I know what must be done. 15th of April, 1702. My teacher is less understanding than I expected, for even from her heathen heart does not wait the disgust and contempt with which she now looks upon me. I did what I had to do for my family, for the purity of our blood, for the immortality of our chosen line. How could this witch understand my burden? She vows to return tomorrow for her payment. I would just have to have this over with. Am I still a man of my word? 16th of April, 1702. I watched her burn. Her sorcery slew many of my guardsmen, but in the end she was detained and delivered to the church. The zealots, having heard of my testimony, proved just as eager to see that wretched bitch be consigned to the flames. I know such methods have fallen out of fashion. Thus we committed the act under the cover of darkness and secrecy. I would have granted her land or made her as rich as Croesus, but no, that wicked creature turns out to be clever. She said I could never save my family without her aid, and demanded that I end my rule, destroy all titles and deeds, and delivering my land and wealth to the common folk. Did she really believe I would plunge my kingdoms, my empire, into anarchy? Truly, she was mad. But now nothing remains but ash and sin, and I may return to my great work, no longer bound to her unethical flexibility. There is so very much to be done. The injuries by Leopold I first are increasingly frenzied and illegible, suggesting that a deteriorating mental state until death in 1705. It appears that he eventually had success, resulting in the creation of SCP-3288, albeit with unintended consequences, via the introduction of an anomalous gene into the family bloodline. This gene allows human DNA to resist certain deleterious conditions associated with inbreeding. The House of Habsburg continued its practice of inbreeding, accelerating the development of mutations. Those with significant deformities were hidden from the public. The Habsburg monarchs eventually creating vast vaults to house them. The vault dwelling Habsburg continued to breed. Eventually, we developed mutations which vastly increased the rate of reproduction, in turn increasing the chances of every new mutations. Those who more closely resemble baseline humans remain on the surface, while those sent below who continued to adapt to subterranean life. DNA analysis, however, revealed that consanguinity grew increasingly more extreme over the years, further indicating that incest between parent and child, or brother and sister, had become the norm among SCP-3288 by the 19th century. It appears that the Habsburg monarchs went to great lengths to provide their old kin with a lifestyle just as extravagant as those above. Documents reveal the study, delivery of food, wine, and entertainment. Over time, these requests become eccentric and strange, and eventually depraved. All evidence suggests that these requests were met. It is unknown how long SCP-3288 has survived without outside assistance. One document appears to imply that the Great Plague of 1738 led to the delivery of significant amount of feed. One document of singular importance contains a list of vaults similar to SCP-3288. The Foundation has used this information to locate and neutralize like SCP-3288 hives, but the document itself has been the cause of concern. Have been illegible due to the mold-related damage. This means that at least half of these vaults cannot be relocated and will continue to be a significant threat to the public. Addendum 0923-2016. There are a growing number of reports describing violent sexual assaults and acts of cannibalism throughout Central Europe. Closer analysis of these attacks has led the Foundation to conclude that SCP-3288 are responsible for the violence. Due to the widespread nature of these incidents, it is feared that multiple undiscovered SCP-3288 vaults have been breached. An instance of SCP-3288 was recently captured at the Black Forest in Germany. Tracked to a derelict hunting lodge by MTF Sigma-6. The entity was successfully secured and contained, with operatives suffering from only minor casualties. 9 bound women were discovered in the basement. Only one was still alive, and the cadavers display a rupture or lower abdomens and evidence of partial cannibalism. The survivor was dirty, malnourished, and her lower abdomen was swollen and visibly throbbing. The woman screamed to the operators, pleading that they get these things out of her, along with various expletives and religious invocations. She received medical evacuation via helicopter, but crashed approximately 5 minutes into its flight. 4 fetuses were discovered among the wreckage, though heavily charged, all display mutations associated with SCP-3288. The recently captured instance of SCP-3288 was discovered. A transcript is provided in the following collapsible. Interviewed SCP-3288-6971. Interviewer Dr. Elizabeth Varga. Forward, subject is restrained and muzzled, and its cell is equipped for enhanced interrogation. Due to the severity of circumstances, personnel are engaged to use all possible means of information extraction. Interview conducted in German. Begin log. Are there other victims? Where are they located? Produces a chattering noise and begins to laugh. We don't have time for this. Use the light. Security officer complies, flashing approximately 32,000 lumens at the subject. Subject shrieks, "You wretched whore! I will pluck your eyes out and skew." Put the screws to it. But subject continues to shriek as its bones begin to break. Tell us everything. I yield. Properly. Tell me what you know. Subject trembles. You wish to know about the vessels. I am but a duke. The empress. You want the empress? Tell me about these vessels. Now. You are merely claiming what is ours. By divine right of kings. The women you raped. The empress. She said it was I. For 1,000 years our blood has been pure, untouched by the taint of outsiders. Why change? Why now? Our blood is strong now, so strong it overwhelms the blood of the wretched mudbound. Our line will never die. It will never fade. We will rape every last one of you. Our bloodline will never die. No. It will become everything. It is our gift, our blessing. What do you mean? The meek will reject the strong. The doomed will reject the chosen. Don't you see? The greedy, he will devour the charitable. The merciless will ravage the peaceful. And the fornicators will raid the chaste. We will make the world as perfect as us. We will all be aristocrats in the end. And our dynasty will never die. End law.